Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yasser Ahmed. Today we're going to be looking at paper 3 from the Information and Communication Technology IGCSE course. So course code is 0417. We're looking at a new November 2018 paper. So paper 3 is a practical paper which is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Today we're going to be focusing on a website part. So we're going to be using two software. The first software we're going to be using is Microsoft Expression Web. And also, if we're going to edit some pictures, we're going to be using paint.net as well. So let's first of all scroll down. Task 1 is the evidence document. So what we need to do is open a file, n183evidence.rtf, and then we need to make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of the document. So we can place these details in the header. Okay, so let me first go to my source folder. Let's locate the evidence document. Let's open it up. Okay, so to insert a header, click on Insert. Go to Header and Footer. So let's just select header first. And I always select the option which gives you 3 columns. So let me include my name. So Yasser Ahmed. The center number I'll use today will be 5678, and then the candidate number I'll use is 1234. Obviously in the exam you need to use your own details. So let's close the header and footer. Okay. Right. Save this as a word process document into your work area with a file name n183evidence followed by your candidate number. So we basically need to include a candidate number at the end. So mine obviously is 1234 in this example. So let me click on File, Save As. We need to make sure we save it as a Word document. So we're going to select Word document. We want to save it into the same folder. Okay. And also include the candidate number at the end. So let me include 1234. Save. And now we're going to be hopefully using this evidence document later to take some print screens or to copy and paste some code. Yeah, so you will need to place screenshots and answers to questions in this evidence document. Right, so let's now move on to task 2, the web page. So you will develop a web page for the construction department of Sheila's Steel Sheds. So efficient markup and styles must be used. All color codes must be in hexadecimal. So the first thing we need to do is create a new folder called Sheds. So let me copy that name. Let me make my new folder. Let's call it Sheds. And then the next thing we need to do is locate the following files and store them into your Sheds folder. So the construct PNG. Let me just do one thing at a time. Yep, so that's the first file. So let me just move that. Second file is the table style CSS, which is this document here. And a final document file which we need to move is a logo JPEG file, which is this file here. Okay. So what's left is the Excel, which I already started and completed. Okay, so in my Sheds folder I've got 3 files. Let me just change it to details so we can see the file type. So we've got a PNG, a CSS file, and a JPEG file. Okay, so let's look at question 1. The table style required by the company are. So all internal and external grid lines for the table must be single border, 4 pixels wide, which can be seen on the web page. The grid line should be defined as. So then we have color components. Remember, the first mistake people will do is not to put these colors in the right order. So it's going to be red, green, and blue. So if it's full red, it'll be FF for green, and blue because there's no component, 2 zeros each. So FF0000, and internal lines will be FF 57 and 33. So you don't really need to know what these numbers are as long as you put them into the right order. So all text should be center aligned within a table, both horizontally and vertically. So let's have a look at the next bullet point. John, a trainee, has created a style sheet, N183 table style.css for these table styles. examine the style sheet and evaluate in your own words the syntax and efficiency of the style sheet. So let's open up the style sheet first of all. So I'm going to be using this software here, so Microsoft Expression Web 4. Let's just close this. To open a file, you simply go to File, Open. Let me go to Documents, Paper 3, November 2018. If you go into my Sheds folder, here's a style sheet. Okay, and examine the style sheet and evaluate in your own words the syntax and efficiency used of the style sheet. So in the evidence document, type your evaluation in your own words using no more than 100 words. Okay, so let's now look at the style sheet. So obviously we need to look at the syntax and the efficiency of the style sheet. So before we move on, there's 4 marks available, so let's try and pick out 4 different points. So if I go back to the style sheet, the first thing that stands out is we're missing the hashtags in front of the color for background color for the table, and then the hashtags for the external border, which is in table, and then the internal grid lines, which is in TD. So we're missing the hashtag. So basically the hashtag is used to show that these values are hexadecimal. Okay, the next thing which we're going to look at is the actual colors for the external border and the internal border. So the colors should be in red, green and blue, so RGB. So the red always comes first, then the green, and then the blue, and we should have 2 characters for each color. So looking at the external grid line, so external one is in table, the first 2 characters should be FF for full red. So if I go to here and go to table, you notice FF comes at the end. So it's basically followed this order, which is incorrect. The order should be FF0000, so red, green and blue. Let's look at the internal grid lines, which comes in TD. And again, it looks like there seems to be a mistake, so the FF is at the end. But if you look at the style sheet, red is full, so you got 2 Fs for red. Green is in the right position. Okay, and the last 2 characters, which represents blue, should be 33. And obviously, these 2, the first 2 and the last 2 characters, need to be changed. Okay, so that's 2 mistakes. The first one was we're missing the hashtags to identify these values as hexadecimal, and then the colors are not in the right order: red, green, and blue. Okay, the next mistake is not obvious. All text should be center aligned within the table, both horizontally and vertically. So for the next mistake, what I need to do is open up the panel, manage styles. Then if I double click or click on table and TD, modify the style. And if we go to block, so the text has been center aligned. Okay, so that's horizontal. Now for vertical line, the option we should have selected should have been middle. Okay, as you can see, there is no center for vertical line. We want to select middle. So basically what that will do is basically align the text in the middle of the cell. Okay, so as you can see here, so that's the third mistake. Okay, on the positive, at least we've used the most efficient syntax, or they've used the most efficient syntax. So table and TD, these values will be the same. So we've basically put it into one tag. So it's basically table, comma, TD. So we've used the most efficient CSS for table and TD as they're both defined together. So I've already copied and pasted this information from the mark scheme just to save us a bit of time. So the borders were not in the right order, so the order should be red, green and blue. The colors were missing the hashtag to show its hexadecimal value. The vertical align value is incorrect and should be middle. Efficient CSS as table and TD defined together. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to edit the trainee style sheet so that it matches the table styles required by the company. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, if I go to the style sheet, let's put the hashtag in. Okay, for all of the colors. So this now identifies these values as hexadecimal. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is put these colors into the right order. So the table should be red first, so FF for red, and then 00 for green and 00 for blue. So the table, let's put FF here. So it's going to be red, full red, no green or blue component. Okay, and then for the internal grid lines, which is under TD, it's going to be, basically we said these two need to be changed. So it's going to be FF for red, 57, green was in the right place, and then blue is 33. So we need to put FF here for red, and then for blue, we need to put 33. Okay. Right, what else? Okay, the vertical line. So let's fix that. So if I right click, modify the style, go to block. So the vertical line should be middle. Okay. Apply. Okay. So we've got the hashtags, we've got the colors now in the right order, and the vertical line is now middle. Okay, so let's see what the next question is asking us to do. Add to your style sheet. Automatically place all tables in the center of the window. Okay, so to do this, we're going to just edit the table tag here, and what we want to do is, if you modify, we need to look for the margins. So let me just find, I think it might be box or position. Yep, so it's under box, and to center align the tables automatically, deselect this option here, same for all. So the right and left margin, we need to make it automatic. So by doing this, it's going to center align the table. Okay, so we're in the table tag, we just want to edit the table, and if you set the margins auto and auto for right and left, it's going to center align the table. Apply. Okay. And then the next thing which we need to do, so let me highlight this, is to set style H1 to a white font. Okay, so we have to first of all create a new style. So let's click new style. Let's type in H1, and we don't need to include anything else, we just need to set the color. Okay, so it's all F's. Apply. And let's see if there's anything else. So add your name, center number and candidate number to the end of the style sheet as a comment. So add your name, center number and candidate number. So to add a comment, what you need to do is type in /* and you'll notice the text goes or changes into green, which shows you in a comment. Let's type our name, comma, let's type in the center number 5, 6, 7, 8, and then my candidate number 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anything else we need to include for the comments? Nope. To close the comment is * and /. And then what we need to do is save the style sheet as tabled, followed by your candidate number. So it's going to be table 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's save as. Let's make sure we're in the same sheds folder. Table. You don't need to write .css because we're already in a CSS file, so it's automatically going to save it into that format. So table, and then my candidate number 1, 2, 3, 4. Save. And then it says take a copy of your style sheet and place this into your evidence document. So let me just highlight these. So when it says take a copy, that normally means a copy and paste. Okay, if it says print screen, then obviously you'd have to take a print screen. So if it says copy, I'm just literally going to copy all of the code, copy, and for evidence 2, let's paste it in. Let's just change the alignment to left. Okay, what you can do, if you feel like it's a little bit too big, you can just resize it so it all fits in. Just make sure it's clear and can be easily read. Yep, I'm happy with that. You don't need to change any formatting, that's fine. Okay, so we come to the end of this part. So now question 3. Identify the name of the correct web development layer to complete each of the following statements. So before I answer these questions for evidence 3, so for each missing point there's going to be a mark. As you can see, there's 4 marks in total. Let me take you to my presentation. So if you come to my website and click on this little tab here, let's go to paper 3. And then if you open up this website overview presentation, this one's currently in Dreamweaver. I will be making one for expression. If you open the slide and you come down to the second slide, you can see we have 3 layers. So the presentation layer is basically used to format the whole web page or individual elements. Okay, so the style sheet is part of the presentation layer, could include page layouts using div tags, also text and table formatting properties. So this layer is basically used to format the web page. Now the content layer is basically going to include the HTML, and the content layer could include text, images, audio, video, etc. into a web page, and also to create suitable hyperlinks. Now the behavior layer is to enter scripting language to a web page or an individual element. So it could be things like image effects, having a picture fade in, pop-up messages, or having maybe rollover effects. Okay, so let's go back to the question paper. Okay, so A, the cascading style sheet are part of the presentation layer. So the style sheet is part of the presentation layer. This is basically how the page will look once the style sheet has been attached. Hyperlinks are an action in a web page, and they are part of the content layer. So if I go back to my presentation, so hyperlinks are part of the content layer. So let me just first of all write these answers in. So A was presentation. So the CSS is part of the presentation layer. And B was content. So the hyperlinks are part of the content layer. The text and images of a web page are added to a web page in the, again, it's going to be the content layer. So any, if we go back to my presentation, any text or any content is part of the content layer. So text and images are content of the web page. So again, we're going to type in content. Then if we go to D, an action like hover over or on click would be found in the, and this one would be the scripting layer. So basically when you have any types of scripting, this will be part of the behavior layer. So let me just copy this. Go to the evidence document and let's just type it in. Okay, and let me save the changes. So far what we have in the evidence document is the evaluation of the style sheet, which was 4 marks, and then a copy of the style sheet. Okay, and then evidence 3 was we had to identify the layers. Okay, so we have 3 web development layers. Presentation, this basically includes a style sheet. When you attach the style sheet, it will basically format your web page, so it's part of the presentation. The content includes any text, images, audio, video, so basically anything that's found in the HTML is part of the content layer. And then if you want to add scripting to a web page or to individual elements, this is part of the behavior layer. Okay, so we've completed this now. Let's move forward. And now we're going to be creating a new web page called sheds.htm. So to create a new page, we can just save this and close the CSS. We don't need it for now. To create a new web page, you go to File, New, and you want to click on HTML. Then we can change the view. So this is a code view. Obviously, you can see HTML. If you go to Design View, it's better if you work in this view for now. Before we do anything, we should save this file. So if you go to File, Save As, because we've opened the HTML, it's going to save it into that format. And we're going to save it as sheds into the same sheds folder that we created earlier. And then what we need to do is basically and create the table structure as shown below. So this web page must work in all browsers. So before we can create this table structure, let's identify how many rows and columns we're going to have. So we've got 1 row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, and then we've got 2 columns. So to create a table, you simply click on Table, Insert Table. We're going to have 6 rows, 2 columns, and can we specify any properties for this table? So let's have a look. So the size going across is going to be 810. So we can specify this here. So make sure you select pixels. So the table will be 810 pixels wide. The height you don't need to include for now, because when we change the formatting for each cells, the height of the table will automatically change. Okay, so I'm just double checking. Right, that's fine. We can leave everything else. We've got 6 rows, 2 columns. The table is 810 pixels wide. We can press OK. Okay, so now what we need to do is merge some of these cells. So the top and bottom rows are merged across. So we can highlight the first row. Right click your mouse, modify, click on merge cells. So that now becomes one cell. This now needs to be merged as well. So highlight both cells, right click, click on merge cells. And then these cells here need to be merged all together as well. So we can highlight all of these cells here. Go to modify, merge cells. So the height of the first row is going to be 130. So we can include the height now. So if I right click on that cell, go to cell properties. So the height in pixels is going to be 130. So we don't need to change the size of the cell going across because we've already set that when we created a table. Okay, and then the height of the last row is going to be 80. Cell properties in pixels. Again, we don't need to change how wide the cell is because that's already been specified when we created a table. Okay, these cells all have the same properties. So what you can do is you can highlight all of these cells together. You can right click your mouse, cell properties. So it's going to be 200 pixels wide, 150 pixels will be the height. So make sure pixels has been selected. So 210 by 150. Let me just double check. Yeah. Apply. And then this cell here will be 600 by 600. Okay, so let's right click, cell properties. Again, make sure pixels has been selected. Click on apply. Now, if I go to my HTML source, if we go to the code, you'll see we've got the pixels here. So the table is 810 pixels wide, and then we've got the height for the first row. Okay, and then we got for the other rows both dimensions. Okay, as you can see here. Let me just quickly go over this here. So TR stands for table row. So in the first row we only have one cell. Okay, so TD refers to each cell. So in the first row we have one cell. Okay, and these are the properties for that cell here. So TR is the row. You'll notice that each tag you close with a backward slash. Okay, so we open a TD and then we close a TD with a backward slash. So this is for the first cell which has been merged across the table. You'll notice in the bottom row, if we go to split view, so if we go to the bottom row, again, it's only one TD because we only have one cell. Okay, if I refer to the second row we have this cell and the start of this cell here. So in the second row, we have two TDs, which refers to the main cell, which was 600 by 600, and then the second cell, which has been resized to 210 by 150. So if I show you here, that's the first row. In the second row, we include this cell and also this cell here. Right, so what do we need to do now? These letters are just for your reference. So when you're placing content We don't need to include these letters into the cells, they're just for your reference. So each cell is identified with a letter and all dimensions were in pixels. The letters and dimensions shown in the table must not appear on your final web page. So it's all just for your reference. So there's 8 marks here. So at the end, when you do copy your code, what's going to be marked will be these dimensions here for the table and the column span as well. Right. What do we do next? Okay, so let's now move on to question 5. The image ssslogo.jpg has been created but has white corners. Edit the image to remove these corners. Save the image with a new file format as ssslogo.png. Because we have to save into a different format and obviously crop off the white corners, we're going to have to use an graphic editing software. So the software I'm going to be using is going to be paint.net. It's a free software. Let's first of all open the file. So we're going to open up this file. So if we go to File, Open, so SSS logo, open. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see, but we have some little white triangles in the corner. So basically what we want to do is, the image has been created, but we have to edit the image to remove these corners. So what we can do, we can make a selection using a selection tool. Basically we want to select everything apart from the corners. Okay, then if you go to image, crop to selection. So as you can see, we've removed the corners, and then we need to save it into a PNG format. So if I go to File, Save As, if you click down, we can select PNG. Do we need to change the name? It's the same name, okay. And then save. Okay, so when we're saving it, there's options here to change the bit level of the picture. So we're going to keep it the same for now, and then we're going to press OK. And the next question, or next bullet point, says place in cell A the same picture. So cell A is the top row. So if I go to my first cell, to place the picture, you can either click on this icon here, or you can go to Insert, Picture, from File. Let's go back. So 2018, paper 3, November 2018. And if I change to details, we can select PNG file. So yeah, we want to select this file here, which is the PNG file. And I always include alternative text. So if the picture doesn't load up, this text will be displayed instead. So the alternative text is logo. That's what it is. Okay, that's fine. Happy with that. Okay. So question 5 is complete. Question 6. Place in cell B the image N183 construct.png. So cell B is basically this cell here. So if I click inside, go to Insert, Picture, from File, it's going to be this file here, construct. Okay, let me just copy that name. Insert. If the picture doesn't load up, we can have this text here that will be displayed instead, and press OK. So what's happened? Oh, here we go. So I think the picture's on the big side. So what's the next thing? It's probably we're going to be resizing. Yep. So resize in your markup. So we don't need to go to graphic editing software. So that is 600 pixels square. So it's basically going to be 600 pixels by 600 pixels. So if I click on the picture and right click and go to picture properties, appearance, as you can see the size is 2400 by 2400. We need to make it 600 by 600. Okay, so we can maintain the aspect ratio. That's okay. Okay, so the picture has been resized and now it fits within the space here. Okay, so that's question 6 complete. Now for question 7, place the text. So we're going to be placing text in these columns here, or these cells here, C, D, E, and F. So specialist steel sheds in cell C. So let me just copy and paste. Obviously in the exam you'd have to type this information in. So I'm just going to press Ctrl V to paste. In a cell below, which was D. Let's copy the next text. Aluminium sheds. Next one was gallery. So this is E. About us in cell F. And you can double check to see if you put them into the right cell. So it should be C, D, E, and F. Yep, happy with that. The last row is G. So in cell G, web page created by, followed by your name, center number, and candidate number. So in the last row, followed by your name, comma, I think was it center number, let me double check. Yeah. Comma, center number 5678, and then my candidate number in this example is 1234. Set all this text to H1. Okay, so if I highlight this text here and go to the formatting options and then select H1. So this is a default. I think when we attach our style sheet, this will change. Okay, so let's highlight all the text. H1. And I just want to bring to your attention as well, if I go to the code, you'll see at the start of each text and at the end of each text we have a tag. So this is H1, and then we obviously close the tag with a backward slash. Then if you go to the next text, you can see again H1, H1, H1. So this refers to heading 1. And then finally in row G we've got H1 as well. Okay, so next we have to attach the style sheet that you saved in step 2, which was this style sheet here. So we saved it as table 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so attach the style sheet that you saved in step 2 and save the web page into your sheds folder. So to attach the style sheet, we need to get the panel back up again. So if you go to panels, manage styles, attach style sheet, browse, and it's this style sheet here that we created with a candidate number at the end. So press OK, and you can see the table has been formatted. So the table has also been center aligned because the margins has been sent to automatic left and right. The background of the table is black, and the H1 is shown as white, as we set in the CSS. If something does not appear right, you can always edit the CSS. So let's say H1, for example, the text was that color, for example. Okay, and obviously you know the text for H1 was meant to be, if we go back up, actually it's on the next page. So H1 was meant to be white. Obviously later on you can come and you can make the changes as well. So double check, okay, to see if all of the settings have been applied. The external border was red, pure red, so let me double check again. So the external border is pure red, as you can see here, so full red. Okay, and then the internal border, if I go to modify TD border, should be like this light shade of red. So it's full red, but it's got some green and blue components as well. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's go down. So we come into the end of this part now. So display the web page in your browser. If necessary, resize so all of the web page can be seen, all of the text can be read, the address bar is visible. Take a single screenshot of the browser window and place this into your evidence document. So this is a typical screenshot. There's only one mark available. Okay, so let's go to File, save the changes first of all. Preview browser, let's go to Chrome. Okay, let's resize so it all appears. Okay, let's print screen. You need to make sure you have this browser window when you print screen as well. So You can use the snipping tool, it's up to you what you want to use. So for evidence 4, place a single screenshot of the browser window. I've just got used to using the print screen button now, but it's up to you what you want to use. I've just pasted it in. We can crop off the bottom part of the picture. But what you don't want to do is, you want to keep the address bar at the top. And then what you can do is we can resize the picture. Obviously, the examiner needs to be able to read the text. Okay, so let's save the changes. Evidence 5, it says take a copy. So when it says take a copy, we're going to copy and paste of the HTML source and place this into your evidence document. So now this is where all of your marks are coming from, and this is the last evidence that we need to do. So the HTML source, many people get confused thinking this is the HTML source because they see HTML here. There's no marks here. The HTML source, if you go to code, this is the HTML source. Let me just get rid of this now. So you basically need to copy all of this. So the marks will come from, typical marks will be, this is evidence showing that you've attached the style sheet. Evidence the table has been resized. The image has been inserted, and there's alternative text sometimes. In this paper it's not asked for alternative text, but other papers they do ask for alternative text. And pictures has been resized, so yep, the height was 600 by 600. You got the text style, so H1 has been applied to the text. So let me copy and paste all of this for evidence 5. So I'm just going to central left align the text. Let's just make the text a little bit smaller, and let's paste. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if it comes on lots of different pages and you got spaces in between. It's just really important. I'm going to put this onto the next page actually, that all of the HTML text is visible. One person asked in the last video, do I take a print screen of the HTML? If it says take a copy, you literally would have to take copy and paste. If you were taking a print screen, you'd have to obviously take 2 print screens to show all of the CSS. But you just basically need to follow what the paper is telling you. When it says take a copy, you take a copy and paste. When it says take a screenshot, that's when you literally take a screenshot. Okay, so we've come to the end of the website section for the November 2018 paper. So I think this website section was relatively straightforward. The spreadsheet part was challenging, so please check out the spreadsheet video as well, which I've already posted onto the YouTube channel. So thanks again for your time. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe below as well. Thank you again for your time.